I'm gonna talk about Ramadan, the Islamic month of fasting, and if we deviate from the subject, please feel free to have a discussion so we can talk about anything you guys want to. As you can see, Ramadan is a whole month where actually Muslims fast from the sunrise to the sunset for 30 consecutive days. So I'm going to outline my presentation. First of all, I'm going to give you an introduction about Islam, and then I'm going to specify what is Ramadan, and I'm going to talk about how a day in Ramadan looks like for a Muslim. And I'm going to, because I'm from the Middle East, I'm originally from Jordan, I'm going to mostly talk about the Middle East and how, Ramadan in Jordan and Palestine and the surrounding areas look like. I'm also going to talk about benefits of fasting. Then we're going to dedicate a large amount of time for the types of food you can see in the Middle East. Then at the end of Ramadan there is what we call Umrah and Eid, and I'll explain those. And we can talk about final thoughts. All right. So in the year 575 AD, so about a little bit less than 600 years of the birth of Jesus, may peace be upon him. In Mecca, Muslims believe the Prophet Muhammad was born there. And when he was born, his dad has passed away already. His mother passed away when he was, I think, 6 years old. So he had really a rough childhood. His uncle, one of 12 brothers, took him in and he raised him until he became an old man. He worked at that time between the years of maybe 12 to 25 as a shepherd. And then he grew up to be the most honest person in this city called Mecca at that time. It's mostly in the desert area. This is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is almost desert, 4 times the size of Wisconsin, I would say. As you can see, Egypt is here, Sudan, Oman, United Arab Emirates, and these are little small countries, Qatar, Bahrain, and Kuwait is here. Iraq is up here. Jordan, where I'm from, is here. So it was rough life, living in the desert. Muhammad was born in a tribe called Quraysh, and it's one of the 4 most popular tribes in Mecca at that time. So he was known for his honesty. A lot of people wanted to hire him in trading and all these things. So when he was 40 years old, he used to go to a small cave in a mountain prior to that, and thinking about life, who created us, where did we come from, where are we going. And when he was 40 years old, Muslims believe that Gabriel came to him and revealed the revelation for him about Islam. And he was really scared, so he ran down the mountain to his wife, asking her to cover me, hide me. He was really shocked. Then Gabriel came to him, told him that you were the prophet for this nation, and so on. So he gathered all people of Mecca. At one point he said, if I told you behind this mountain there's a big monster that's going to come and crush all of you, would you believe me? He said, yeah. They said yes. Because they've known him all his life, never told a lie. So he said, well, I came with this revelation from God that there's a new religion, it's called Islam, and I'll be the prophet. Then they all mocked him and got separated. Of course, through the process of his 23-year-old of what we call da'wah for Islam, he was really tortured. It was just like if you come with a new idea, the people around you, they reject it. But, the first 13 years were the toughest. Then after that, a group from Medina, which is a city of 2 tribes, were badly divided between the 2 tribes. They used to kill each other for the last 40, 50 years. So a group of them came to Mecca, because Mecca, where Kaaba is the old mosque built by Prophet Ibrahim. And everybody around here came to Mecca to pray to God. Whoever that God is, they didn't know, but they got the traditions from, their parents and their parents' parents. So they met with the Prophet Muhammad, may peace be upon him, and the Prophet Muhammad told them about their revelation of Islam. And they went back. They did not respond. At the end, one man said, maybe this guy is saying something we haven't seen before. Then they came back and they believed in him, and that's when the Islam actually started to take off. So on the 13th year, after a lot of torture to him and his group, they migrated to Medina, which is about 250 miles away from north of Mecca. And then when they arrived there, they established the first state of Islam. Then they started growing. 10 years later, the Prophet died. There was about maybe 20,000 Muslims at that time. And the first 10 years of Islam started to spread out. And after 100 years, Islam spread from the west of Morocco all the way to beyond Afghanistan. So Islam was the first 100 years is this. And of course, they started knocking on the doors of Europe. 150 years out of Islam, they conquered the army in Europe here, and they established what we call Andalus. I don't know if you heard of it. Like many cities now in Spain, like Cordoba, Catalonia, Siberia, these are actually cities built by Muslims, and they still exist now, and they have really great amount of architecture still. Muslims stayed in Spain for about 800 years and they left. I'm from here, this little country called Jordan, about half the size of Wisconsin, which is a map there where it's more. Please feel free to interrupt me if I forget to say something. If you have any question. Well, Islam is built on 5 pillars. Faith, which is shahada. We have to bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and that Muhammad is his prophet. Allah is the same God that Christians and Jewish people believe in, but we call him Allah. The second pillar of Islam is prayer. Muslims have to pray 5 times a day at different times, following the sun movement in the sky. Zakat is charity. Every Muslim has to pay at least 2.5% of their money for the poor every year. Fasting is what I'm going to talk about today, and pilgrimage. Once in your lifetime, if you are able physically and financially, you have to do it, which is go to Mecca and do some ceremonial religious things for about 5 days, I would say it lasts. Now, the pillar of faith, you have to believe in Allah, believe in the angels, which is similar to Christianity, I would say. Believe in the revealed books like Torah and the Bible. Believe in all the messengers that God sent. So Muslims believe in Jesus, Moses, John, Yahya. Believe in the resurrection day and believe in the predestination. Okay, fasting, that's what I'm going to talk about most likely today. So God in the Quran says, "O who believe, fasting is decreed for you as it was decreed for those before you." For those before you, God means Christians and Jewish people. It says here in Arabic, I will read it, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامُ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. Fasting in Ramadan. It's a full month, and Muslims follow the lunar calendar. Sometimes the month is 29 days, sometimes it's 30 days. However, it's always 11 days shorter than the solar year. So every year Ramadan comes 11 days earlier than the year before. With a little calculation, you will see that every 33 years, Ramadan sweeps around the year once. So if you live to be 66 years old, you probably fasted Ramadan in the summer twice and fasted Ramadan in the winter twice. And all over the year, of course. Now, Ramadan comes in the summer. And actually, of the 33 years, Ramadan this year is the longest day, has the longest days. So Ramadan is just today. Today is the 9th day of Ramadan. So if you're fasting today, you're fasting from 3 a.m. till about 8:35 p.m. No food, no drinks. If you smoke, of course, you can't smoke. No sexual relations with your spouse during the day. You have to do a lot of good deeds, charity, read the Quran, pray more, argue less. Okay. Well, all of this, of course, fasting is not an easy thing, especially for 30 consecutive days. There are some excuses. If you are sick, and there's a wide range of sickness, like if the doctor says you have to take medicine every 12 hours, then you can't fast. Because fasting now is about 17 hours, you can't fast. If your sickness is going to increase if you fast, then you can't fast. Actually, in Islam, you are obligated to break your fast. Because, God doesn't want you to get sick. That's what we believe in. If you are traveling, and sickness also could be like a pregnant woman, you should not fast. If you are a nursing woman, you should not fast as well. Traveling, if you are traveling more than 81 kilometers, which is about 50 miles, more than 50 miles, like from a city to a city, from a state to a state, you can break your fast if you want. Old age, if you are too old and your body is weakened by fasting, you should not fast. If you feel intense hunger and thirst, like for some people who work in construction, and it was really a hot day, humid, 90 degrees out, you're working all day. By noon, you feel really weak, you should break your fast because God does not want you to get hurt. Compulsion, if somebody forces you to do something, you should not fast. If you are forced to do something, you should not fast. Okay. So how does a day in Ramadan look like? The day starts before the sunrise. I know the sunrise now it's around 5 a.m., but actually you should start fasting at 3 a.m. when there is no light at all outside. So before the sunrise, all family will wake up for what we call sahur, which is like a meal, a quick meal. Family eat, then they drink a lot of water, they have a lot of vegetables and all these things they want, fruit, whatever they want. Then they brush their teeth. Then what happens is that the time comes, then nobody eats. Some people go to sleep after that. Some people stay up. If it was in the summer, like now, 3 a.m., probably most people will go to sleep. But in the winter, you can start fasting at 6 a.m. because there's no light outside. Then probably people will go to work after that. And now in the Middle East, like when there's Ramadan, the hours of work are really shortened, like to about 50%. So you start working at 9, you go back home at 2. It's really nice. And so on. And after all, like, at 8:30, what happens is that the sun sets and you have what we call fatur, or that's when you break the fast. You break the fast. And there's a lot of people. It's like really a nice family occasion. And, if like the sun sets in a big metropolitan area, and you feel like everybody is sitting at the table with their family, it's kind of like really a nice feeling. So, benefits of fasting. There's so many benefits of fasting. I found 2 articles, documented articles about that. But there are many doctors and many people who talk about benefits of fasting. So I'm going to talk quickly about this. If you actually go online and just write on Google intermittent fasting, you will find so many people posting things about how good fasting is. But these are things how people felt. We need more documented articles or peer-reviewed articles. So there was like one a review article, and that was I think in 2003, and they came up with these results. There's cons and pros for fasting. The cons are like headaches, especially if you drink coffee in the morning. You can't drink coffee now. It's not a good day. Mood changes. You become really sensitive. Like if something goes off a little bit the track that you wanted it to go, you become like irritated very easily. Their study too, they found that accidents had increased at that time because of sleep deprivation and dehydration. Of course, you're not drinking water for like 17 hours. The pros: blood sugar balance, that was proven, reduces the likelihood of cardiovascular diseases, increases the good cholesterol, HDL, and decreases the bad one, of course. Now, this is actually a proceeding, an article published in a conference about intermittent fasting, not fasting as Islam wanted it, like this one. This is based on fasting in Ramadan. This one based on intermittent fasting, which you go to a clinic, you tell them your sentence, and they say, we're going to put you in a room for 17 hours, no drinks, no food, nothing. And they do that. There's some clinics in Europe, I know they do that. It's called intermittent. They force you not to drink or eat anything. I'm not sure if they exist in the United States. So they found out, the study found out, your body has an increased insulin sensitivity, increased stress resistance, reduced morbidity, and increased lifespan. That's proven too. Increased resistance of neurons in the brains to exotic stress. All of these neurons in your brain, like always charging active, that's actually counterproductive sometimes. So when you relax and calm, they actually help. Beneficial effects that met or exceeded those of caloric restrictions, glucose regulation, and neural resistance to injury. So these are also by evidence. Now, if you ask people, there's so many benefits of fasting, like fasting promotes detoxification. Part of that, like if you eat with your family every day, good food, your mother prepared, and in the Middle East, mostly the mother or the woman basically does the cooking in the Middle East. So you're eating good food, no additives, no preservatives, for a whole month. Your body really feels better. It rests your digestive system, resolves inflammatory response. And I actually witnessed that with my knee. My knee is always inflamed. When I fast, the inflammation in my knee goes down. Reduces blood sugar increases fat breakdown, because when you fast, your body resolves to another process called ketosis, I think, which starts breaking the glucose. It corrects high blood pressure, promotes weight loss, promotes healthy habits, boosts immunity diet, may help to overcome addiction, promotes, I think I wrote this incorrectly, promotes an inner stillness, enhances spiritual connection. As I said, when you're sitting with, just like Thanksgiving dinner, when you know everybody in the country is sitting with their family, you feel really good. That's one thing. Fasting too, when you are hungry, it's most likely you would feel with poor people. So that's why people start giving charity more, because when they are hungry, they pass by, for example, a homeless person or a poor person. They don't feel much, but when you are hungry, you're more likely to sympathize with them. Okay, well, since fasting is long hours, so people made it an art to make good food in Ramadan. So all the pounds you think so I would say fasting is not a good way to lose weight. You can do so many things. You can get rid of bad habits, like a lot of people quit smoking in the Middle East during Ramadan. If you think coffee is bad for you every day, you can decrease the amount of coffee you take every day. So anyway, so people really make a good point in making good food. So they cook all types of food. As you can see, these are like famous dishes. I will talk about some dishes in detail. These are famous dishes in the Middle East. All of these. And, because charity time is good time in Ramadan. So people, like if I'm fasting and I bring food to you and you are fasting, then God will give me the same good deeds that you have, because I gave you food for breaking your fast. So people make it as a point to invite as many people from the outside, from any place. Like you can go, for example, to a policeman on their post. In Ramadan, and you want to bring them food, and you would say, "Oh, I'm sorry, somebody else brought food," because people rush to help other people break their fast. So actually, some people, rich people, they will make a huge feast, and they will invite everybody in the city to it. Poor, rich, doesn't matter, because that's going to add to their good deeds. And I remember in 2005, maybe, a rich guy from United Arab Emirates invited I think the number was a little bit less than 100,000 people to eat food. Yeah. So, and President Obama also does this every once in a while. He invites people from Muslim community for breakfast. Okay, so how does breakfast start, or futur, when you break breakfast? First of all, you take a glass of water. It's not recommended you drink it really fast. You just take it little by little. Then you eat dates. So this is almost in every table. Salad is very important. Then soup, light soup, entree, and you end up with the dessert. Soups. Light soups, chickpea soup. I'm going to talk about lentil soup later. Chickpea and tomato soup with spinach, mostly vegetables and legumes. Curry potato soup with lamb meatball. This is a little bit heavy, but still, okay. Lentil soup. So there's you put carrots, onions, cumin, lentil, all spices, and you put it in the hot cooking pressure for about an hour, and it comes liquid or mushed together. It's really It really tastes very good. It's very, very beneficial too. A lot of protein, a lot of good stuff. The entree. I'm going to bring this example from Jordan. This is the most popular food in Jordan. It's called mansaf. And mansaf actually means in Arabic, destroy. So when you eat this, it's going to be like, oh, I don't want to do anything else. So, it's rice on a flat bed of bread, almonds, lamb, cooked. This is actually yogurt, like solid yogurt. It's actually really salty. So what they dilute it with water, and then they boil it and pour it here, then you eat. That's mansaf. And you cannot insult mansaf in Jordan. It's really not good. You don't say mansaf is bad. No. You don't want to do that. One of those also is kebab. I don't know if you guys seen kebab before. It's equal amounts of ground beef, parsley and onions grounded together. It's really tastes very good too. You can put, you can also on coal. You cook it on coal, hot coal. You can cook this also with tomatoes too. Jeddah, that's from Palestine. It's equal amounts of lentil, onions, and rice. And you can top it with onions fried with olive oil. And as you can see, it's a little bit reddish. It's extra reddish. This reddish color is coming from a spice called sumac. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, sumac. It's kind of like really sour, but it's kind of like lemony. It's amazing taste to it. People put it on a lot of onions and chicken, and they are cooked together. And this is another one from Palestine, Lebanon area. It's called musaflan, pita bread, on which you put almonds and fried onions with olive oil. I don't know if you see these little red things. These are sumac too. And of course chicken. This is almost half cooked, and you put it in the oven for 45 minutes at 400 degrees, and it comes out like this. It's very delicious. All right, so little pop quiz for you guys. Anybody knows what this is?
Falafel.
Sorry?
Falafel.
Falafel, that's correct, yes. That's falafel. It's very famous in the Middle East. I don't know if you heard of it. How about this guy? Heroes, right. And we call it shawarma. Shawarma, but it's heroes, yeah. It's very popular in Greece too. How about this dish? Hummus, yes. You can find it in any store in the U.S. Hummus. You can find it in any store. Okay. And this little type of salad, anybody knows? Jerusalem? Could be. Maybe it's, I'm sorry?
Chickpeas.
There's burgul, parsley, tomato, all really diced with lemon.
Is it tabbouleh?
Tabbouleh, that's correct, yes. It is called tabbouleh, yes. Could be Jerusalem. Yes, this salad is really so good, people actually present it with desserts. So people like it with desserts too. Yeah. All right, speaking of desserts. This is katayef. This is the most popular thing in Ramadan. Pancake stuffed with coconuts, brown sugar, walnuts, all these nice things immersed in sugar syrup. Very, very good. This is called katayef. This is called kunafa. It's very popular in Jordan and Syria, Lebanon, Palestine. Not too much in Egypt. This is like sweet cheese topped with shredded phyllo dough, and immersed in syrup, sugar syrup. And here, as you can see, grinded pistachio. It's really delicious. And if you eat this, you're going to have to drink like 3 cups of water at least to quench your thirst. Yeah. And this is also called barbat. It's like what do you call it? Baklava. It's like baklava. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's pastry.
Yes. Yes. A very sweet cheese, and wrapped in layers of phyllo and immersed in sugar again, topped with grinded pistachio. And this is mushakkal. From its name, mushakkal means variety of desserts. That's what it means. And people take this as a gift to other people. Like if I'm visiting my mother, if a brother is visiting his brother or a friend visiting his friend, it's nice to take like 2 or 3 pounds of this. It's really like a nice gesture. And it's not cheap actually. This is the pound. The pound of this is about $20 in the Middle East. So in the Middle East, people make like maybe $500 a month. So if you buy 2-3 pounds, that's like a work of 2-3 days. It's not cheap, but people love their food. It's a good thing. Well, after you rest and you finish your desserts, you talk with the family a little bit, and if it's summer and nice outside, like especially now in Jordan, for example, the best time is after Tur. People like relax, everything is good, then they start socializing with each other. They go out, friends meet at a hookah bar, they smoke hookah until like midnight, then they go home, it's 1 or 2 o'clock, they wake up with family, let's do suhoor, and then they go to sleep. Or if you are a good devout Muslim, you go to the mosque and you spend like 2 hours of praying there. It's called Taraweeh. It's about 4 or 5 times the length of regular prayer. And some people go to Mecca for a small hajj or small pilgrimage. It's called Umrah. They travel to Saudi Arabia, they go by plane most of the time. They used to go, a few years back by the car, but now it's better. And after Ramadan is done, Eid is coming. Eid is like the equal of Christmas in the United States. 30 days of fasting now. Next day, it's Eid, it's celebration. People break their fast, everybody's happy. Families visit. People give the children a lot of money. The children go out and buy stuff, and have fun, go to whatever they want to do. And that's what Eid is. Then this is actually Sunnah. I don't know if you guys have seen it. I recommend it. You can go to, I don't know if Woodman's have it. They do? Okay. It's really good, especially when it's fresh. Try it. You're going to love it.
And what is it made of?
It's a plant called sunnah. And if I remember correctly, the plant itself is poisonous, but the fruit is not. Is that right?
Yes, and I had someone gave me some sumac jelly one time.
Oh.
It was very, very good, but my husband wouldn't eat it.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Just like, yeah. And that's it. I hope you guys please ask me questions about anything. I understand there's a lot of stuff about this that we haven't answered. Yes.
On radio this morning, in the talk show, a woman called in and said, don't the Muslims ever have to do independent charity work? Well, I know.
There's a lot of charity. In Islam, if you want to give charity, it's better deed for you with God to keep yourself anonymous, because the Prophet says, a good Muslim who gives with his right hand what his left hand doesn't know what's in his right. Because, you're giving charity out of your, of course, there's people are encouraged to give charity and announce themselves because that's also encouraging people to give charity. But if you can stay anonymous, that's better.
And what percent did you say was recommended to give it?
It's 2.5%. Every person who has money in his bank account for a year. So if I had $10 in my bank account for a year, I have to give 2.5% out of it, which is not much, 25 cents. But if you have a lot of money, and actually it adds up. And at one time in the Islamic history, about I think 100 years after Islam, there was so much money. The Khalifa did not know what to do with the money because there was so much money in what we call the house of the money, according to what they called it at that time. So the Khalifa did not know what to do, so his counselor said, why don't you marry the men? There's a lot of men who are not married, they need money. And that's what they did. So they encouraged men to get married.
Bride prices.
What's that?
So it was a bride price then.
Like helping like the wedding, yeah.
Well, this woman seems to have insinuated that you didn't bring any special events, charity events, and she said this is about we help homeless men and what do the Muslims ever do?
No, actually, I know from like if you go out to mosque, and I went to the church, it's the same exact thing. Like in the church, people are sitting in the chairs, and some pocket, is that right? I mean, I was there and I've seen it. Right, and it's really a very nice thing, right? And the same exact thing we do in the mosque. Like people would be sitting on the floor, and there's a pocket gone. If you put money in it, that's good. If you don't, nobody. And a few years I was in Madison. I lived in Madison. I used to go to the mosque to break my fast when I was like single, And at the Friday prayer, there's a lot of people. They asked, we want to finance futur, which is the breaking fast, for the Muslim community, students mostly, who don't cook, who are single, and who we need some people said we need this amount of money. It was in the thousands. So we're going to break it apart. So who wants to donate $5,000? And a person raised their hand. Who wants to donate $1,000? A couple of people. It was really nice.
What purpose was that for?
For preparing the food for Ramadan for the single and students who live in Madison.
And I know there's a Red Crescent too, because of the Red Cross.
Right. There is a lot of donations.
Do you have organizations such as our ECHO?
ECHO is that humanity?
It's an everyone cooperating to help others, and this is a charity that we have in Janesville.
Oh, okay.
That helps maybe with food,
Yes.
with housing, with anything.
Well, there's many types of charities. For example, at the end of, before Eid comes, at the end of Ramadan, every Muslim has to get out, other than 2.5%, there's other charities you have to actually pay off. Like in Ramadan, for example, at the end of Ramadan, you have to pay, at this point, I think it's $25. You have to do it. It's not hey, it's a choice. So every Muslim gets out $25, and this goes to the poor people and unfortunate people in the community, in the surrounding community. It is must be spent in the surrounding community. So if you think there's, in Madison, there's at least 5,000 Muslims, at least. If everybody gets out $25, that's a big amount of money for that one event. And there's other events, there's other charities.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, how is it raising Muslim children in what is generally a Christian area?
Well, I can
Are
tell
they
you,
in school yet?
I'll tell you, my wife is Christian.
Okay.
My kids, I'm gonna.
A little bit of both.
Yeah.
The best
So we celebrate
Christmas
Christmas.
and-
Yes.
Christmas is
Yeah, I understand there's going to be confusion, but through conversation and talk, things will be okay. So, I would like my kids to be Americans, as American as possible. I want them to mingle. I want them to be integrated in society, play soccer, play football, go to school, go to work. That's what I would like them to be. Yes, sorry.
I was just on a similar vein. I just thought, are you getting up at 3? Are you very tired right now? Are you keeping us there?
I really have to confess today. Today I'm not fasting because I am actually a little sick, so I've been taking medicine. Yes, but I fasted at least 5 days. They were not easy, but I did not do sahur. By 10:30 p.m. I'm very sleepy. I just go to sleep.
We're supposed to fast as Catholics too during part of our religious year too,
Right.
but your son's a little better than ours.
Can you share how?
Well, if you're fasting during Lent, we don't do it for an entire month. We can barely make a day here and there. But we'll do a Wednesday or a Friday on our holy days where it basically...
No food or drink.
Lent is
You can
40 days.
have water, and then you could have a small meal for, let's say, lunch or something. But basically, it's fasting between meals, so it's not the same. But the meals are very small. They're not like this. But it's the same idea where you're doing some of the same reasoning for the fasting. So.
And I know a Jewish friend of mine, I think he told me that he fasted for 24 hours continuously. I think it was 1 day a year, is that? I'm not sure about this, but that's how he fasted, I think, I remember he said. Yes.
Does your wife like your type of food? Or?
Yes, she was very nice, and the first 2 days, 3 days she made kebabs, that's nice. She made another type of food, and she works too. And I'm not working now because of the summer, so I do a lot of stuff too. So but as a nice gesture for her, acknowledging Ramadan is coming, she insisted on making a couple of meals the first day, took a few days. But she's much busier than me now.
Are there any good restaurants in Madison that...
There is Kabul. I don't know
okay,
if you heard of it.
that.
And there is the West Nile, I think. No, the Nile, I'm sorry. West Nile is the... it's not good. The Nile, yes. They have really good kebabs there. The Nile, yeah, I recommend the Nile. And there was one called King of Falafel. It was around State Street, but it's moved out, I'm not sure where. Yeah. And there is an Albanian restaurant near Costco on the west side. It's for a couple of Muslim Albanians. They make really good food too. Yeah. Yes.
So where do you have to go to worship
Actually, I should go to every Friday at least, prayer. There is an Islamic center in Whitewater.
Okay.
I went to it a couple of times. Unfortunately, every Friday I am with my kids because my wife works Fridays and I don't work on Fridays. And they are too little, I can't take them to the mosque, especially the 9-month-old one. The 3 years old, if he goes to the mosque, he's going to run around, which is okay. People are very tolerant for little kids in the mosque. But the 9-month-old, I think it would be too much for him. But he's probably a year and a half.
You probably know we have a mosque here, James, on that.
Oh, I
I'm
didn't
afraid I
know.
didn't
Yes.
get the head off the
Oh,
house.
yes.
Yeah.
And he's done some speaking in the
Yeah.
area too for the diversity group.
Oh, I did not know
Yes,
about this.
it's a former Knights of Columbus building. I think it might have been.
Knights of Columbus is a Christian men's
It's a
organization.
Catholic.
Catholic men's
When they
organization.
purchased, I believe they purchased that facility,
Oh.
it wasn't open house, but it was a nasty day last spring.
Right, which is why I didn't get
Yeah,
out.
so I
So,
didn't get there, but there is a mosque here too.
There's 2 mosques in Madison. There's plenty in Chicago. There's a lot of Muslims in Chicago. There's a lot of Muslims
Yes.
in Michigan too. There's about, I don't know the number, but I think there's about 5 million Muslims in the United States.
Do children participate in Ramadan? Or how old are you?
No, children, once they reach puberty, they can start. And the way children are encouraged to fast is fast half day at the beginning, then you feel comfortable when you start fasting the whole day. I remember the first time I fasted, I was 9 years old, and it was summer. It was a long time. So I fasted probably 4 or 5 days through that Ramadan. It was really tough, you know. I've known a kid who was 7 years old, voluntarily, nobody forced him, because you can't force anybody to fast, who fasted the whole month of Ramadan. But that was amazing. But people actually, your body is amazing, does amazing stuff. I know you're going to be thirsty, but if you're not eating food, you're not going to be as thirsty, because you need water to digest your food and metabolize your food. So if you're not eating, your water intake actually for your body goes down, so you don't need to drink as much. So it balances out a little bit. It's still tough.
Oh, it's supposed to be.
Of course.
It is though.
It is a worship to God. It's just to feel closer to God and feel, you know, it's supposed to be challenging.
So have you made special rules for the Muslims up in Scandinavia now?
Oh yeah, I know.
Where the sun never sets.
I know. If I was to make a ruling or something, I would say they should follow Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
Because the sun barely sets. I mean, they fast for 23 hours. They can't do that. It's impossible.
Yes.
And I think there was a fatwa, which is like a religious, like a few years ago, they should follow Saudi Arabia. I remember that something like this happened. Yes. I mean, how you know, in Alaska too, the sun never sets in the summer. So how would you fast?
It's hard.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of fun in the winter.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I lived in Pullman, Washington, and nowadays the sun sets like at 9:40 and goes out at like 1:30. That's in Washington State, not too far away. And you know, you can see the light always. Like you can see there's always that little bit of light somewhere. Even at midnight, you can see that there's something going on. The sun is trying to peak.
So
Very hungry.
sad enough, just giving up for Lent. Candy or sweets or something.
Any general questions? I'm open to any questions. Yes.
Really appreciate what you have shared with us tonight and the positives of your faith. I respect the Islamic faith very much, Muslims. We have good friends who are Muslims, and I guess my question to you is, in this day, when there's so much prejudice, how do you deal with it? And how can we, as caring Christians, caring citizens, what can we do?
I mean, to be honest with you, I know a lot of people. I play soccer with many guys. They're all nice. My neighbors, very nice. Community and college is very, very nice. I never felt like I'm an outcast or anything. I mean, people are super nice. Americans are nice. You know, my brother lives in Britain, and he comes here. He doesn't want to go back to Britain because nobody's mine. You know, I'm not saying it in general. I'm just telling you, But, you know, I mean, Americans are really nice, very nice people. So there is, you know, and I look at that side always. I mean, I'm sure there is another side, but I really don't see it. I don't see it. And I surrounded myself with a lot of good friends, good people. So I don't really feel, of course, I can't help, you know, you hear the news, there's a lot of stuff, I feel stressed out sometimes, you know? Why is this happening? Is it really true? Sometimes I ask, is it really the media that, you know, makes it big? Because there's a lot of other stuff. You can look at it in many different ways. There's so many vantage points you can look at things. For example, what happened a few days ago in the nightclub, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking. Of course, it is terrible. It's terrible. Now, you know, the guy, you know, he's not, I'm reading about him, he's actually used to drink, which is not a good, drink alcohol, which is not a good thing about Muslim, if you are Muslim. He is, you know, he beat up his wife, he's doing a lot of weird stuff, he's short-tempered. I would categorize this guy as a, you know, mentally not unhealthy person. That's what I think.
He's an unhealthy, mean person who happened to be Muslim.
Right, exactly. So there's, you know, the media makes things really harder, I think. And they make it at the other end nicer. You know, they say, well, there's these nice things in the Muslim community, then they make it. I mean, I don't know what kind of like, sometimes I think it's a game, you know. You know, for example, the guy who shot people in the movie theater.
Yes.
Or the guy who shot little children in the Sandy Hook Elementary School. They were like deemed to be mentally unhealthy people. But unfortunately, like, of course, there's, you know, there's terrorism, there's radical Muslims who totally misinterpreted Islam. Totally. You know, when I was in high school, I was the top student in religious studies. Top student, actually. And, you know, I read about all these, you know, the Quran verses. There's, you know, just like the Bible or Torah, there's violence, there's peace, there's all these things. But these people, the radical Muslims, which 1 out of a million, I think, really, because there's 1.3 billion Muslims in the world. So maybe 1 out of a million, they misinterpreted Islam and they made themselves a representative of Islam. And that's really not Muslims think at all. Between God and the Muslim, there is no medium. In the Quran, God says, and if Muslims ask you about me, he's addressing the Prophet Muhammad, if Muslims ask you about me, you should tell them that I'm really close. They should pray to me and I will answer their prayers. So these people, the radical Muslims, put themselves as a medium and a representative of Muslim to God, which is actually negates what Islam is about. So I think they are misled, they lost their ways, and Islam was never a violent religion. Actually, the biggest country in the world, Muslim world now, is Indonesia. And Islam spread in Indonesia without one single bloodshed, because people made trades with Muslims at that time, and they thought, well, Muslims are really honest, they do these things. And that's how Islam spread in the biggest country where Muslims reside. So there's a lot of misconceptions, you know, about that. So unfortunately. And the media sometimes does not make it easy. There's some, yeah.
But there's still, my son-in-law, my daughter's name is Safar. His family, Safar.
Safar?
Yeah.
Is that?
Safar, they're from Iran.
Okay.
His father's family is from Iran. And there is discrimination against them because of that.
Against,
Him?
okay, against, as him, because he's a Muslim.
No, because his name is Zafar and he's Iranian.
Oh.
He's half Iranian. But they assume he's Muslim. There is, just like you, because you're not as blonde as we are,
Right.
you know, or blue-eyed or anything. There is, especially in larger cities like Chicago, which is where they are,
Oh.
that there is still considerable, and then of course we've got a presidential candidate who does not like Muslims at all. He's an embarrassment. No, for me, he's an embarrassment. But there is a tremendous amount of distrust of Muslims. And it's just wrong.
And I think there's a lot of people who want to learn. And I appreciate.
And there's a lot of Muslims who are really productive members of the society. I mean,
Right.
Doctors, engineers, lawyers.
You know, and I worked in the healthcare field when I was in Chicago. And, you know, look, there are so many Muslims, and sometimes I find myself the only Gentile there. You know? So I get the same kinds of questions from the
Yeah.
other way around.
I think, I hope it gets better, you know, and I hope, you know, nothing like this happens, you know. It might happen again, God forbid, but, you know, I mean, Muslims are more, you know, there has been Muslims who have been killed by ISIS more than the entire population of they have killed outside Muslims. Like, ISIS killed French, British, Americans, all over the nationalities, but they've killed Muslims a lot more than they've killed.
Tremendous.
Because they don't conform.
Right.
Right, or you know, they want to tell, I mean, some people say Muslims are not doing enough to actually stop ISIS. Actually, they are. I mean, Jordan, my country, for example, they're sending airplanes and bombing ISIS all the time. I remember like 2 years ago when a fighter pilot lost his plane and fell into ISIS, then they
Yes.
burned him alive.
Yes.
Yeah.
And showed it on television.
Right, they showed them on television.
Right.
So they're really brutal against Muslims. Yeah, I mean, the mother of that pilot came out on TV and said, he's a Muslim, he prays 5 times a day, he fasts, please don't kill my son. The next day they burned him alive. I mean, right. It's, I don't know what's happening really. Sometimes I think, like, why is this happening? Like, is the United States, for example, capable of annihilating ISIS? If you ask me, I think they are. I don't know why they're delaying, why is this not happening? But, I don't know. Yes.
Changing the subject, what kind of a job does your wife do?
She's a veterinarian.
Veterinarian?
Yes. Yeah, we met last year in college. I was finishing my PhD. She was finishing her undergrad. She was much younger than me.
She's not from Ireland, is she?
No,
Okay. good.
she's from Forks, Washington, small town in the National Olympic
Okay.
Park.
So I'm very familiar to Irish vet from Fort Atkinson with a similar
Oh,
family.
yeah.
Wait a minute, are you my husband?
her name is Chrissy.
No, you're not married to her.
That's funny.
So what brought you to the United States?
School, actually. I came here for school. I got a master's degree in physics, and I wanted to start as a PhD in physics. And I just applied to several colleges, and I didn't get lucky to get into a PhD program, so I got another master's degree from Pennsylvania. Then I went to my PhD.
Your first one was from Amman.
Yes.
So you must like it here.
It's nice.
You're staying alive here.
Yes. It is nice. I miss my family a lot, and I want to go back so much, so many times, but I can't.
What do you think of the winter?
Oh gosh. It's bad.
Is it difficult to go back and see some of the problems?
Yes, it is very difficult. I get mad a lot there when I'm there because society here is very organized. Like if you are going to buy something at Starbucks, you stand in line, right? So I could be standing in line and somebody would just jump in front of me.
Right.
And they don't think that's bad. It's okay.
They got front, no. No.
So that actually makes me angry.
Because he went to the front of the line, he deserved to be in the front of the line.
Sounds like something Jim Gale would bring.
It's my daughter, like it.
I mean, that's, driving in a man. If you survive in a week driving a man, you'll be the best driver ever. Oh my gosh, there's no lines. Traffic lights are just for decoration.
Now that sounds a little like Mexico.
Yes, it does.
I mean, my friend went to Italy, he said the same thing too. In Italy, he thought like he was in a taxi, he thought he was going to die. Because the taxi driver was going to do this.
And of course, there are no seatbelts.
Mexico City, and I never saw anything like that in my whole life. It was just.
But people are good drivers.
We have to be.
Yeah, they have to. They use their hands too outside to negotiate, like give signals, they use their hands. They use a lot of gestures too.
We did that one time.
And it's okay.
They have two. Different
I mean,
hands.
It's not a big deal. Like the bad hand gesture is okay, All right, sorry.
I'm sorry, if you already said you came here for school. Did you talk about, when I started talking to your name, sorry, this isn't your topic, this is not what you teach at UW-Whitewater.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit, did you say this already, what you teach at Whitewater?
Yes, I teach physics classes, introductory physics to students who want to basically go to medical schools, physical therapy, pharmacy, dentistry, all these.
Non-physicists.
Non-physicists. That's the introduction. Yeah. It's called algebra-based physics. And I teach algebra.
Algebra?
Algebra. Right.
Coming back in a couple weeks we're bringing UW Physics here, are you part of that?
I'm sorry?
We bring the UW Physics here in a couple of weeks for a children's program, are you part of that?
Oh, actually, yes, I am.
Excellent, good, excellent.
Is that here?
Yes,
Oh,
right here.
is that the demo stuff?
Yeah.
I am the one, yes.
Yeah,
I'll be the one who's
yes,
doing it.
yes.
Okay.
So see you then.
Yeah. Right. Yes. And I teach an advanced physics classes. One of them is material science and engineering. The other one is modern physics. And my specialty in research is crystal growth. So I know how to make diamonds, rubies, if you want. So if I have the if I have the equipment, I can make you a ruby this big if you want.
I want that.
That'd be a good
We'll display it in the children's
It's very heavy.
Here. That's great.
Well, if there aren't any more questions, does anyone before I say something?
And I'll be happy to talk individually to you. I'm not in a rush.
All right, well, thank you so much.